Welcome to this explainer. So I want you to imagine you're looking down at a massive international airport from way up above. You see hundreds of aircraft taxiing across the tarmac, perfectly organized glass terminals, and millions of passengers moving efficiently from the curb right to their gate. From this bird's eye view, everything appears perfectly orchestrated, almost serene. But as I discovered while digging into this, that visible building, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. Today, we're going to descend into a completely hidden reality, a massive, subterranean world that operates around the clock. Okay, let's dive into this. When you hand over your luggage at check-in and it slips out of sight behind that little rubber curtain, well, that is just the beginning of an absolutely incredible journey. To truly understand how a modern airport functions, we kind of have to shatter the illusion of that quiet, carpeted terminal. We have to look down, beneath your feet, where a literal invisible city is working continuously to keep global aviation from coming to a complete stop. Above ground, you've got this beautiful illusion of calm, right? Passengers sipping their coffee, orderly planes, sleek architecture. But right below your feet, it is a completely different story. It's this frantic, living, breathing organism. We're talking about hundreds of kilometers of tunnels, high-voltage electrical networks, secret maintenance corridors, and literally thousands of workers. If all of this critical infrastructure were somehow built above ground, operations would quickly become impossible. And to really understand why all this is necessary, you just need to look at this number, 100 million. That's how many passengers some major international hubs handle every single year. To put that into perspective, at that massive scale, an airport is basically functioning like a small, incredibly densely populated city. To accommodate that kind of volume without total surface gridlock, engineers have absolutely no choice but to push the vital life support systems of the airport deep underground. Section 1, the Invisible Logistics Highway. All right, let's trace your suitcase's actual journey through this hidden highway. First, your bag's barcode or RFID tag, which, by the way, is just a tiny radio transmitter, is instantly scanned. Within milliseconds, powerful computer software calculates the absolute fastest route to your plane. It's then transported via this wild labyrinth of conveyor belts, sometimes traveling several kilometers, before high-speed diverters route it to the exact right aircraft. This logistics network processes thousands of bags an hour with staggering precision. Actually, if you change flights at the last minute, the system can instantly reroute your bag without skipping a single beat. But hey, it's not just luggage moving at high speeds, it's people too. To solve surface congestion, engineers have built these extensive transit networks deep underground. We're talking about driverless automated people movers that glide through tunnels just so you can make tight connections. There are massive rail stations excavated deep beneath active terminals that link directly to city centers. Plus, you have kilometers of dedicated maintenance tunnels that are large enough to fit entire utility trucks. It is literally a city constantly in motion. Let's move to Section 2, the airport's vital organs, and see how this builds. Think of these hidden utilities as an absolute masterclass in high-stakes disaster prevention. I was actually amazed to learn that by using underground fuel pipelines, airports totally eliminate the need for thousands of tanker trucks crowding up the airfield. It's a real game changer. They also run multiple redundant power grids with uninterruptible power systems and backup generators,
meaning a sudden power outage won't suddenly halt flights. And massive underground chillers and steam pipes silently maintain the climate of those giant glass terminals up above. So, the crucial point is that this underground world is constantly battling nature. A sudden thunderstorm can dump millions of liters of rain in a matter of hours. To prevent aircraft from hydroplaning, perfectly sloped runways feed into these massive stormwater drainage pipes to instantly remove the hazard. And right alongside them sit high pressure fire mains, ready to supply immediate massive amounts of water anywhere on the airfield just in case of an emergency. And powering this whole shebang is the airport's digital nervous system. Millions of pieces of data flow through redundant fiber optic cables every single second. This network manages air traffic, highly sensitive security checkpoints, and, of course, the baggage systems we just talked about. They're built with redundant routes, so if one physical cable is somehow damaged, the data just instantly routes through another. That ensures zero interruption to critical operations. Section 3. Building under active runways and global challenges. And this brilliantly illustrates how every airport has to conquer its own completely unique geography. If you've ever flown into Amsterdam Schiphol, you might not have realized you were actually below sea level, which requires constant, incredibly powerful drainage pumping just to keep the tunnels dry. Hong Kong International was built on reclaimed land, requiring some intense ground stabilization. And London Heathrow? Well, it deals with such extreme congestion that any expansion requires meticulous, phased underground construction so they can avoid shutting down the hub. Now, with all this vast underground space, rumors are totally bound to start. You've probably heard the wild internet conspiracy theories about secret alien bunkers beneath Denver International Airport. Well, sorry to disappoint the internet sleuths, but as this quote from our source material impartially points out, the publicly documented reality of these massive underground spaces is dedicated purely to operations. And honestly, the real engineering required to run these facilities is way more fascinating than any internet myth out there. It begs this incredible question, right? How on earth do engineers dig safely while 100-ton, fully loaded passenger jets just keep landing right over their heads? Because closing a major runway for months simply isn't an option. It takes years of meticulous planning, mapping out every single existing utility line, and constantly monitoring ground movement literally down to the millimeter. Also, the runway surface remains perfectly stable up above. To pull this off without bringing flights to a grinding halt, they use some seriously cutting-edge subterranean solutions. They use tunnel boring machines to carve out pathways deep below without digging open trenches. They use deep soil mixing for soft clay and flexible pipe joints in earthquake zones so the structures can shift around without breaking. And because these environments are so harsh, they also deploy robotic crawlers with cameras and laser scanners to constantly inspect for cracks or leaks, all without risking human safety. Section 4. The future beneath us. Looking forward, one of the most fascinating concepts engineers are working with is the digital twin. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how a digital twin functions as an exact virtual copy of the airport's underground infrastructure, fed by data from thousands of physical sensors in real time. By analyzing this continuously updated model, engineers don't just react to a broken pump or a failing conveyor belt anymore. They can actually predict equipment failures before they ever even happen. It's a massive shift from reactive repairs
to predictive perfection.
And that leads us directly to the smart underground airport. Artificial intelligence is going to monitor vast amounts of energy data. We're going to see autonomous robotic vehicles handling routine tunnel maintenance and smart networks distributing renewable energy. They're even building advanced stormwater storage to adapt to extreme weather from climate change. These innovations are going to make the invisible cities beneath our feet so much more sustainable and efficient for the next 100 years.
So, I'm going to leave you with this thought to ponder. The next time you step out of a taxi and walk into a calm, air-conditioned terminal, will you look down? Because right beneath your shoes, thousands of unseen heroes, engineers, technicians, and automated machines are working 24/7. Global aviation is absolutely only possible because of this invisible city. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep looking beneath the surface.